Hi guys, welcome to another video. So in today's tutorial I'll be trying to explain the Luma Key effect or Luma Key Transition in Adobe After Effects. If you guys are more interested in Adobe Premiere Pro, I actually did explain the same transition in Premiere in my last video. Just go check that out in my channel and let me know what you guys think. Alright, so there are actually a bunch of ways to apply the Luma Key effects in Adobe After Effects. And today I'll be focusing on how to prepare your footage or your clip for the Luma Key effect, then show you guys a couple of ways to apply this effect in Adobe After Effects. And everything I'm going to show you guys comes with Adobe After Effects, so you don't need to download anything or any plugins. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so the first step in using the Luma Key effect is by overlapping the clips, as you guys can see here. And the reason I do that is because we want to phase out the upper clip or like certain part of the upper clip and reveal the second clip underneath, which contains this sky over here. And that's why we overlap the clips to give us like some sort of a space where we can apply the effect gradually. Alright, so as you guys saw in the beginning of this video in the example, what I've done was actually keying out or getting rid of the sky in the first clip and reveal the sky in the second clip. And the way to do it is by first drawing a mask around the gate and the street here in order to let After Effects knows that we want to keep the gate and the street and get rid of the sky. Alright, so to draw the mask, you just need to go grab this pen tool and start drawing the points around the object that you want to keep in the footage. And in this case, as I said before, we want to keep the street and the gate and get rid of the sky. Alright, so you just have to go as accurate as possible. As you guys can see, it's a little bit tedious task and it takes some time. So just make sure that you're zooming in properly, and always remember that the more points you create, the better results you will end up having. Okay. Alright, so now as we drew our mask, as you guys can see, we completely keyed out the sky in the first clip. But there is a problem. Of course, we're not going to have this weird looking canvas in our video or our clip. So the way to avoid that problem is by duplicating our clip, and to do that you just need to press Command D on your keyboard. Then go with the cursor to where you want to start the Luma Key Transition at, and that would be about this point. Then drag the upper clip, the new copy we just created, all the way to the end until the same point we stopped the cursor at. Then go to this copy, press M, and delete the mask. I don't really want you guys to get confused by the shortcuts I'm using, but it really comes in handy when you know how to use them, rather than just going to the clip and click the drop down menu and go through all the options you have. You just need to do that and practice it a little bit. Alright, so now as we created our mask on this layer and removed it from the first layer in order to keep everything looking nice and normal from the beginning to the end, what we actually have to do now is, as we did in this layer, we drew the mask in order to keep the gate and the street. And what we have to do is to invert that mask in order to keep the sky and get rid of the gate and the street. And why is that? Remember what I said in the beginning, guys. What I'm trying to do is gradually fading out the sky in order to reveal the sky in the second clip. And as you guys can see, I cannot do this now because it goes from that to this all of a sudden. I don't have the sky element to apply the Luma Key effect. Alright, so the way to do this is by creating a copy from our original clip where we still have the mask on, and that would be by pressing Command D on my keyboard. Alright, let me drag that below. Then drag it all the way to the right at the cursor. Then press M, and if I turned that layer, the original first clip layer, off, nothing changed, right? Because the mask is still drawn on the same object. in this clip, which is the gate and the street. So in order to flip that and make the sky appear again, I just have to click on this little button over here, inverted, and here we go. We have the sky again. Alright, so here's a quick recap for what we did so far, guys. The first step was actually to draw a mask around the object that we want to keep in the first clip, and in this case, we want to keep the gate and the street, right? Then the second step was to actually create a copy, drag it to the left, and delete the mask in order to keep everything looking normal until the point where we actually want to start the transition at. All right. Then, as I said before, we needed to create another copy in order to have the sky element on a separate layer where we're actually going to apply the effect onto. And why was that? Because as we discussed in the beginning of this video, what we want to do is to gradually phase out the sky in this clip in order to have and reveal this sky in the second clip. Alright, so now let's see how we're going to do that. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention again that in order to have the sky in the second mask, we just have to click the inverted button. Alright, so now we have everything ready for the Luma Key effect. And as I said in the beginning of this video, guys, there are a bunch of tools that we can use in Adobe After Effects to apply the Luma Key Transition. And I'm gonna just show you a couple of them. Then you can explore more if you want to learn and use other tools. Alright, so first of all, we have to go to the Effects and Presets panel over here and search for something called Luma Key. You can find it under Obsolete. Drag it and drop it onto the second copy where we're actually going to phase out the sky. Okay. Now go to the beginning of this copy. Let's call it sky element. Alright, so let's set the cursor at the beginning of the layer and create a keyframe for the threshold. Then let's say we're gonna end the transition here. Then as you guys can see, create another keyframe and drag this indicator all the way to the right where we have this value 255, and this is the maximum value for the threshold. And let's check that out. Yeah, that's what we're actually trying to do. And this is pretty much the Luma Key effect. Alright, so there are actually a few things you can do here in order to better up your transition and make it look cooler. And that would be by going to the edge feather and increase a little bit so it looks nicer, because let me undo it. As you guys can see here, the edges are a little bit rough and it doesn't really look cool. And to soften the edges a little bit, what you have to do is just go into the edge feather and increase the value until you have something that you're satisfied with. Okay, and let's try this. Yeah, that's pretty much cooler now, right? So now this is the first tool you can use to apply the Luma Key Transition in Adobe After Effects. If you guys think that the transition is a little bit fast, you can just go to the keyframe by clicking the drop down menu over here, or just as I said, I love shortcuts a lot. You can just highlight your layer and press U on your keyboard, and bam, you will have the keyframes here. So as I said, if you think the transition was a little bit fast, you can just drag the end keyframe a little bit, and that will make it slower. Yeah, that looks nice. And as I'm always saying, you can always highlight all your keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, and easy ease, and that will make the transition way better. Okay. Alright, so another way to apply the Luma Key Transition in Adobe After Effects is by using the Extract tool in Effects and Presets panel. can just drag it and drop it onto the second layer or the second copy we created. Go to the beginning of this layer, create keyframes. For the black point, you can create for both the white and the black point. It just depends on your footage and what you want to extract. Sometimes you want to extract the dark areas, some other times you want to get rid of the white areas. So in here I will just create a keyframe for the black point in the beginning of the layer, then move the cursor to, let's say, this point and increase the black point value all the way up to 255, which is the maximum value. Let's preview that. And yeah, it works fine. And now, as we did in the Luma Key Transition, we can just go and feather the edges a little bit in order to make it look nice. And that would be by increasing the black softness value, let's say to 15. We'll say 15. Preview that. And yeah, it looks nice. All right. The third and final tool I will be telling you guys about today is something called Image Wipe. You can find it under Transition. Just as we always do, drag it and drop it onto the second copy. Set a keyframe in the beginning. All right, and move the cursor to where we want to end the transition at, and increase the completion value all the way up to 100%. Okay, let's preview that. And to be honest with you guys, the image wipe tool is my favorite because, as you guys can see, the edges are really soft and the whole transition is just seamless. And that's what I like about this tool. Okay, so that was everything about the Luma Key Transition in Adobe After Effects, guys. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any other questions about this effect or any other effect that you want me to explain on my channel, I would be really glad to see your comments and suggestions in the comment section below. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram to check my latest designs and videos. And that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time.